Alright, so we've talked about solving problems, and one way we did talk about solving problems was to make an organized list. And when we did that, we went through kind of the strategy of what's the problem, what do we need to find, what do we need to know, what are strategies we can use, well, let's show it, let's figure out our solution, what's our actual answer, and we check, and yes, it says, is it reasonable? Well, today we're going to talk about drawing a picture and writing a number sentence. And this is actually a fairly straightforward strategy. And I'm going to teach you a good way to draw a simple, easy picture to help you solve math problems that will then kind of give you the number sentence to write. So first off, let's talk about our problem. Our problem says, let's make it nice and big so we can see it. There are 2 lunch periods at Central School. There are 458 students at Central School. I'm going to just go put this on the second line here. There we go. If 221 students eat during the first lunch period, how many students eat? How many students eat during the second lunch period? So we now have our problem. There are 2 lunch periods at Central School. There are 458 students at Central School. If 221 eat during the first lunch period, how many students eat during the second lunch period? We have our problem. Well, what do we have to find? If you look right here, there's a question. How many students eat during the second lunch period? That is what we have to find, or our question. Well, what do we already know? Well, I would say we know that there are 458 students at Central School and 221 eat during the first lunch period. So if I were to draw a picture of that, I would say, okay, here's the whole school. This line represents all the students at the school, and there's 458. And now I say, well, part of this 458 eats during that first lunch period. So let's say this amount here. This is going to be 221. And then there must be another group, and that must be the rest of the students that I don't know. I don't know how much this is. Question mark. This is how many students eat during the second lunch period. This is what I'm trying to find right here. And you can see I just drew a picture. It doesn't seem like it's that elaborate of a picture. I didn't actually draw all the students. I had this line and said, well, we're going to pretend this line is all the students. Here's the group that eats at the first lunch period, and here's the group that eats at the second. Well, how do I figure that out? How do I solve this now? Now this is where I come up with my number sentence. And for this, my number sentence is, if you look here, you have 458. Well, if I just kind of took this part and got rid of it, it's like I'm erasing 221. Or I'm subtracting. So my number sentence will be 458 minus 221. And we'll put an equal sign in there and put a question mark because we don't know yet. So in terms of what do I know, my strategy, here's my strategy. I already underlined what I know. My strategy is draw a picture, write a number sentence. Here's my picture, here's my number sentence. That's all it is. It's nothing fancy or anything like that. A real quick little couple boxes, one line on top. Oh, I know the total, and I know one of these boxes. Well, now I have to figure out the other one by subtracting. And now I'm actually going to show my work here by doing the subtraction. So I do 458 and 221. And let me make this bigger so I can work with a little more clearly. Put a minus symbol, subtraction symbol here, and an equals bar underneath. We start out with 8 minus 1. That is 7. And 5 minus 2 is 3. And 4 minus 2 is 2. And I say, okay, I have 237, right? Makes sense, show solution 237. Okay, so I can kind of maybe say, oh, look, my answer is 237. Yay, I have an answer, I'm done. No, because there's a couple more steps here. We've shown our work, have a solution, think we have an answer, check reasonable. Oh, that's right. We want to make sure that our answer is reasonable. So to do that, we're going to have to go back and round this and say 458. Well, 5 here in the 10 says round up, so it becomes 500. 221, well, the 2 in the 10 says to round down, so this becomes 200. 500 minus 200 is 300. 237 is kind of close to 300. I would say, this is rounding up a bit and this is rounding down, so we lost some numbers there. But I would say 300 is a pretty reasonable estimate. The other way to check this is to go back and add 237 plus 221. So we're just reversing. We're going to add these two little blocks together, this block and this block. And we do 7 plus 1 and we get an 8. And 3 plus 2 is 5. And 2 plus 2 is 4. And I check, does 458 match what I started with? Does this match what it says in the problem? Yeah, so now I've checked my answer, I have my reasonable solution. But there's one more part we forgot here, that when it says how many students eat during the second lunch period, we need to make sure we actually answer that. The answer is not 237, it's 237 students eat during the second. Let's make this smaller for us. Eat during the second lunch period. And then we have our answer. And that's how you draw a picture and write a number sentence.